For some of you, your father. Maybe you're very close to a sibling or a niece or nephew. But in this particular situation, then his wife said to him, do you still hold fast to your integrity? Remember I just said after consideration, holding fast to your integrity? His wife, the one that's closest to him, said, do you still hold fast to your integrity? She's telling him what she thinks he needs to say out his mouth. Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Verse 11. Now we spoke about the one that's closest to you, whether it be a relative. Now we're going to talk about your friends. The one you say, your homeboy, my homegirl, the one that I can call on anytime. My friends. Now when Job's 3 friends heard, I'm in verse 11, still in chapter 2. When Job's 3 friends heard of all this adversity that had came upon him, each one came from his own place. Eliphaz, I'm just going to go over the name, Bildad, and Zophar. For they had made an appointment together to come and mourn with him and to comfort him. That was their intent. But when they got there, oh, it was a different story. And when they raised their eyes from afar, they're coming upon Job, obviously, because he's in a place where, as location, they can see him, but not necessarily, see him really good. But they recognize that this must be our friend Job. And when they raised their eyes from afar, they did not recognize him. They lifted up their voices and wept. And each one tore his robe. Remember, Job, it must have been really, really bad, because Job tore his robe after all of this, and initially just the blunt of it all. But it must have been so bad even for the friends that they couldn't even take it, that they tore their robe and sprinkled dust on his head toward heaven. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Now, I cannot go, for time's sake, go on specifically chapter by chapter, verse by verse. But I'm just going to overview some of this, and I'm going to get to the last chapter. In chapter 4, Eliphaz talks now some foolish things, okay? I encourage you to go back there and read some of the things that his friend, his boy, said to him, okay? So then you go in chapter 8, where Bildad, he says some things about maybe this is why this is happening and blah, 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 and things of that. These are your friends. These are his friends. Sometimes our friends don't say the right things at the right time when we're going through.
So you're right.
Then in chapter 15, Eliphaz is saying some other messy stuff. At first, remember we read that they were there for 7 days and 7 nights because it was so consumed with they couldn't even recognize him. And at first they didn't say anything, but then after they done regroup, now they saying things, but they're saying the wrong stuff.
Now things are fake.
Have someone said the wrong things to you at the wrong time?
Yes.
That did not encourage you?
Amen.
Now, let me remind you, we're talking about a blameless man here. Now, sometimes we do certain things that causes certain adversity to come upon us because we're not in the will of God or we're not doing what we're supposed to do. But we're talking about those that are striving for perfection truly, that are blameless, that shuns evil, that type of person. That's who I'm talking about here. So then in chapter 20, we hear something from Zophar. And Zophar writes a sermon on the wicked man. They up there preparing a sermon about you.
On the wicked man.
About why all of this stuff has come upon you.
So far, okay.
And then going to chapter 22, Eliphaz says some more things that is not edifying because they don't necessarily understand the consideration.
Okay.
They wasn't there when God considered them. Your friends weren't there when God considered you.
Watch out.
So they're not going to understand the purpose, the rhyme, or the reason of why you're going through the things. Whether it be a loss of a child, a loss of a job, the loss of your livelihood, things of that nature.
Loss of your health.
Loss of your health. Chapter 27 talks about how Job maintains his integrity. Remember, after the consideration, holding fast to your integrity, not saying profane words. God, why does keep happening to me? Or you do something wrong to someone, you hit somebody, or you... He is a perfect example of having lost it all and still holding fast to his integrity. I'm talking about more than just stomping a toe and then, ooh, that just slipped out. No, it slipped out because it's in there.
Watch out.
Amen. That's right.
You know, so this is a man that he's saying to God, God giveth, God taketh away, blessed be the name.
The Lord.
Okay? He shuns that. He knows that evil talking needs to be put far away from your mouth. He knows all about those things, but he's still holding fast to his integrity after everything. And remember in the beginning, this stuff kept happening. He didn't even have time to regroup. Everything was taken from him. Sometimes in our life, we feel that everything has been taken from us. We go through experiences, we go through trials, we go through tribulations, where we honestly feel that my hope is gone. But you remember the song, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus Christ and his righteousness. Move with me, if you will, and I'm going to close it up on this. Chapter 42. After consideration, holding fast to your integrity. Chapter 42 gives purpose and gives reason and gives cause. See, we don't know the end. In our book of life, we don't have that chapter 1023 is going to be it for us, because we don't have that. Can you imagine the time period that Job was going through this? The time period alone, because see, when we're hoping for restoration and when we're hoping for health, for our health to be restored, we don't know that. Paul said this to me, and I'll never forget it. It's called the in the meantime stage. You have the beginning where you may have experienced some health issues, and then you know that Jesus Christ being your hope and glory, that you shall be healed one day. But in the meantime, that space of time from point A to point B is where oftentimes we grow weary and give up.
In the meantime,
we grow weary in our well-doing when Jesus said, be not weary in your well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. In due season you shall obtain your health. In due season your child will be saved. In due season you will get that promotion from the job. In due season people will begin to treat you right. But that in-between time,
rough right there.
We have a perfect example of a man who was blameless, holding fast to his integrity.
Before God.
Thank you, Pastor, before God.